Well, we are talking a lot about leadership today, and we are talking a lot about strategies and where you go forward. So it's great to be joined now in a special fireside chat here by Sima, founder, chairperson of the Apparel Group. So, Sima ji, thank you so much for being with us. It's great to be. We want to really trace your story, find out a lot of the things that you're doing, and also tell us a little bit about the Apparel Group and what you do there, and especially the retail side.
So thank you, Vikram, for having me. Of course, I feel very honored to be sitting next to you. The Apparel Group is basically a retail conglomerate based out of the UAE. We have 85 plus brands, 2,200 stores, 22,000 employees, and our presence is in 14 countries. Primarily, we started off in GCC, but now we're also in Asia and South Asia. We're a lot in India as well. We've got 250 stores in India with various international brands.
Right. The reason why, this particular space is an important space is we are now starting to see the world moving towards more and more consumption, right? I mean, places like India, where traditionally it was felt, okay, it's a very small section of people who go out and get brands. Now a lot more people have the ability to go out and buy, and that's why people feel there's a big consumption story that is now coming.
I think definitely. I think there's two simultaneous sort of things happening right now. First of all, even though the per capita income in India is lower than what we see in the GCC, at least the appetite for our brands, I still think the volumes make up for it. And for us, the whole aspect of going into value fashion, value beauty, value retail in various forms is what is attractive. I mean, today I was just being told that India adds 26 million babies a year. That's the size of Australia. So basically, the size of Australia gets added to India every single year. And our own company has seen a 48% growth from last year just in retail.
That's fascinating. How exactly does the retail space work? If you could just tell us a little bit about what your company does in retail and where.
So we are franchises essentially. Most of our 85% of our portfolio is international brands. In India, we do brands like Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works. We've just brought in Tim Hortons, which is one of our champions. In the GCC, also we have brands like some in India as well, but Aldo, Nine West, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Levi's. So we're essentially into the spaces of fashion, footwear, F&B, and beauty. And, we're not new to this space. We started back in 1996 when Dubai was still not that much on the map. But today, I think every single brand it needs to be London, Paris, New York, Dubai. So I think that's what it's become now.
Dubai must be a great place to do business, right? The entire world is now heading for Dubai and wanting to set up some sort of...
Honestly, I say this quite often in my interviews. I don't think we would have been the company had we not been based in Dubai. The leadership there just makes it so easy to not just do business, but also to understand that going forward means you have to think big. We don't think small. We think Burj Khalifa, tallest tower in the world. Everything that Dubai does is what I call the IST. It's the highest, the biggest, or the widest, or the largest. You can never be just a tiny player in Dubai.
All right. Let me now start with your journey, right? So what would be some of the moments in your career that when you look back, I mean, take us through the sort of journey, like what would be some of the crucial moments?
So I think, of course, that, the one that's the most critical for me is when I started the business, which is, I sold the gold that I got in my wedding to start a business because my father basically said to me, you can't be a part of mine. Your brother and you will kill each other. And my husband's family was totally into the traditional businesses, which I wasn't a part of. So I started with that with literally about 10,000 pounds as my capital. And as the years went on, my husband joined me, left his own family business. So today we're actually first generation entrepreneurs with the Apparel Group. And like I said, it's been quite a journey, but I think the most important milestones for me were when we started, we realized the absolute gap there was in the market for international brands. Nobody was thinking of them, nobody was buying them. It got to a point where now when you're shopping in the mall and if you're buying a pair of shoes, there's a 75% chance it's from one of my stores. So we're very strong in the footwear category. Then we brought on fashion. Now we're in F&B. Now we're in beauty. So the journey just continues. But I think some of the other milestones I would have to say is us, the way we pivoted during COVID. So COVID hit us hard because we're offline retailers essentially. And we had a small, tiny platform at that point. But thanks to COVID, what would have taken us about 3 years to actually accelerate our platform, we did in 3 months. Everything else was shut. 2,000 stores were shut. Dubai had very minimal curfews, very minimal lockdowns, but yet we had to pivot. So that was one of the bigger milestones as well.
And how did that happen then? So now you pivoted to being able to sell a lot of the things on digitally.
So
but
we
how
always
does that work
had
in a
the
franchise
platform,
model?
and today our 6street.com holds the largest inventory in bags and shoes. It's over 10,000 SKUs. We're the largest in the region. So I think the fact that we are now able to truly call ourselves omni-channel. It's no longer that we're just retail or we're just online. We're omni-channel. And the customer loves that because our customers are so savvy now. As you can see, the online spend that's gone up in the region, whether it's GCC or whether it's India, we're seeing those trends. So it's about time that we got onto that bandwagon.
I'm actually quite curious in how the franchise model actually works. What is the basic model that follows?
So it's the traditional model where you have an option of either giving us a franchise, we pay you a royalty, and of course we buy the goods from you. There's another model where we license from you, like we have a brand from the States called Beverly Hills Polo Club, and we've opened, I think, 160 stores for that. So it's a licensing brand. We do everything for it, from creating the designs, from selling them, et cetera, et cetera. So there's licensing, there's royalty, there's even JV, like Steve Madden, who's one of our latest brands, has done a joint venture with us. So we're now, we are pretty agile and flexible. It doesn't matter, as long as we know that there is a gap in the market for that brand, we're ready to take it on.
But in most of these cases, in the franchise model, I'm just sort of curious about this entire
Are you
sector.
looking to go into business?
No, I'm just trying to get business ideas from you. Now that not that we are talking about it. These are some. So you take the risk, you get the real estate, or that the brands.
So essentially, in the GCC and in India, we don't buy the real estate, right? We lease it.
You lease it.
But everything is ours. The stock, the leasing, and everything else that goes with it, part and parcel, the shipping, etc., everything is ours, even the logistics. By the way, I have to tell you this, one of the things that we're super proud of is that we have the most state-of-the-art distribution center. We have in the UAE, and we've got one in Saudi, but our distribution center in Dubai can handle from dock to store in 24 hours, a container. And we clear out a container of 6,000 units in 45 minutes.
Wow.
And we build out a 10,000 square foot store in 19 days.
So you're in the GCC, I mean, you're in Dubai, which is, of course, the state-of-the-art infrastructure. And then you are doing a lot in India, where the infrastructure is being built up. It's now much better than it was to be 5 years or 10 years or 15 years ago. What are the different business conditions and what are the different challenges you're facing?
I think with India, we went into India simply because the Gulf and India tend to hedge each other off when oil prices fluctuate. So for us, India was a natural progression of our business. We went in 2001. I can truly tell you it's taken us 20 odd years to figure out India. We're now at that point in time where we can say, yes, we're ready to scale, and yes, we understand what we're doing. It's taken us that long to crack India. Just to show the numbers, right?
It does take a lifetime to understand and figure out India. It's not for beginners, but when you crack it, then you
it's
really...
because India is known to be a woman, right? She's female, so of course it takes that long. Yeah. But having said that, we have 680 stores in UAE, 610 in Saudi, and we're only at 250 in India. So we're fully excited. We're like, after being at this conference, hearing all these people talk about how India government is going to build on infrastructure, make it more accessible to reach the second, third, fourth tier cities. That's what we need. We need that infrastructure. We need that assurance that the government will implement policies or laws that will not keep changing and at least make ease of business easier.
Well, we had this session in the morning just so that I can give you the very latest update, because we got it here from Sanjeev Sanyal and others at the India Global Forum this morning. Infrastructure, I don't think you have to worry about because it's already there and it's being built. Got some great airports, got some great roads, power is not a problem, telecom is not a problem. So infrastructure, I think, is a solved problem. Economic reform, some of the tough things have been done. Policy flip-flops and ease of doing business, they've assured us at the India Global Forum this morning itself that it's work in progress, and they're going to fix it. They're going to go on fixing it.
I think if India
Both
is
strings
looking,
eternal.
I think if India, and it is looking to be a global player, right? It's looking to level the playing field so that people now have an alternative to whether it's China or even whether it's the GCC. So I think it makes absolute sense for them to not just ape or copy, but even just kind of initiate some of the different ideas. Like, for example, when my husband and Sheikh Mohammed will have think tanks, and they'll talk about, let's give out visas on arrival for people who have UK and US. So we don't need to let them wait. We don't need to, eradicate that whole time lag between when you can land in Dubai and just enter. So all these kind of things, or even like during Eid, let's have all the malls open 24 hours. These are the kind of ideas that come out of the think tanks. Of course, the crux of it is they have to listen. So business is there, business is looking to grow, business is willing to grow and willing to invest, but they've got to listen.
And now they've got 10-year global golden visas for somebody there for a while, and if you're retired, even more so. So it becomes a very attractive.
And what's amazing about what they did with that tenure is that it's not just based on wealth or a certain amount of bank balance. It's actually given out even to thought leaders or artists or creative people or people who are basically adding to the economy in any kind of contribution. So that's what's amazing about it.
Right. Looking at we've been talking about some of the business challenges. Let's now turn to cultural challenges, right? Because there would be different cultural challenges of doing business in Dubai, in the UAE, or in Saudi, or in India.
So I think, we like to think of ourselves as regional experts because we've been there all our lives, and there are nuances to each culture. But I think if you pay enough, close enough attention, you get onto them. And honestly, they're such hospitable people that even if you do make a mistake or two, they're not there to sort of tell you about that. So I think the cultural nuances of having a company that's spread across 14 countries, yes, it's complex. But if you have a strong enough culture, I believe, at the top that trickles well down to the senior leadership team, then it just, makes its way down lower and lower and lower. So the cultural aspect, but understanding, like even Saudi for us, I lived in the region all my life. I lived in Dubai all my life. It was only last year that I went to Saudi, and now that I've gone 6 times because I'm just fascinated. Because to me, Saudi is like Dubai was 20 years ago, but on steroids.
And now, of course, a lot of changes are happening out there. It would have been much tougher, I think, for female
woman,
leadership
yes.
for a woman into
Absolutely.
business in Saudi maybe 5 years ago. What's it like now, the atmosphere?
Like I said, I've been 6 times in the last 1 year to attend conferences, to speak at conferences, and to meet other female entrepreneurs. And I must say, most of them come from the royal family. And they're all into business. They all want to do business. They've been into our offices because they want to talk about, growing their brands that they're thinking of coming up with. I think it's if you're not, if you haven't been, you have to go, because that's where the buzz is. Like, they just had a special World Economic Forum there. From Bill Gates to the president of Palestine to the president of Rwanda, you name it, they were there. So I think just like how here we have this entire diaspora, I think there they had an amazing gathering of thought leaders.
So you're in 14 countries. Which are the ones that are really exciting you right now?
Honestly, I have to say my top 2 are Saudi and India. UAE, we're well established, well settled. Everyone knows us well there. They know us well around the region as well. But India and Saudi is where I see the potential for massive amounts of growth. And I think those will be our primary focus going forward.
Right. Just before we end this, and I just want to get some broader pictures on what all you've been doing in the Apparel Group from the point of view of business strategy and vision. When you are starting off something right from the very beginning and you are scaling it, do you have a reasonably consistent vision through the entire period, or the vision change with every year and decade?
So we do treat every single brand with its DNA, as close to it as we can. We have a different brand team for every single brand. I think it has become a little bit of a cookie cutter for us because we know some of these so well. But what's exciting for us is when we take competitive brands. So when we take Aldo and we take Steve Madden, and they're both not happy the fact that they're both with us, but we have a Chinese wall between them, and they know we know our operational efficiencies and excellence, right? So they trust us, but I think that's exciting to watch for us.
But does it always work out, or sometimes they say, "Oh, you're doing a better job with them than you are with us"?
It's like
It could be
having,
for other reasons. It could be because of the product, but they'll be looking at you and saying, "Why is our competitor doing better than us?"
I think it's like having 85 children, and you've just got to make
I
sure
mean,
they all get
you know,
along.
Everyone in this room is trying to think about having 85 children, and it's tough enough to manage 2 or 3, right? You know,
So
85
that's what I
is-
mean. So I think if you have 85 children and you have enough help to go with it, then I think you can manage to make sure every single one at least reaches 90% of its potential.
All right. And the Chinese wall that you spoke about, because when you've got so many brands, every brand stands for something different. How do you ensure you look after that?
That's what I said, that we give them custodians. The custodians are very clear that they are not supposed to be divulging whether it's, what they're buying, what they're selling, I mean, of course,
And the
numbers goes
custodian
first.
stays with that brand for a period of time so
Yes.
that they're not taking intelligence from one to the
But
other.
we do like them to move. We do apply the 3-5-7 because at Apparel Group, we're a lot about learning. So we like to make them move just to get that different element of, working with a new brand, just to make sure they don't burn out. But no, like I said, we've been doing this now since 1996. So we're pros at it. And we've actually got our partners coming out and telling us, can you tell us how you fit out a store now in 19 days? Because they take 4 months. Or, the other, whether it's the logistics, whether it's the supply chain, all of it, we are becoming a benchmark in the GCC.
All
and
right,
Asia.
that's fascinating. So last question before we go, I mean, any advice you would be giving to aspiring business leaders, especially, people who are wanting to make an impact globally, move to 14 countries, come to GCC, come to India. What would be your advice to them?
So I think, first of all, be disruptive. Don't just assume that just because someone else did this well in their space, that's what you need to do. I think copying other people is not the way. Like Peter Thiel says, right? Competition is for losers. Like, if you really want to stand out as a company, you've got to be in a space where you don't have sight of competition because there is none. And I think being disruptive is the way forward to go for that. Whether you use AI or whether you use whatever else platform that helps you get to that particular point. The second thing I would say, honestly, think big. I think these days you have so much access to capital. It's just a matter of coming out with that idea, bringing it to light, and letting the capital follow you. So I think a lot of youngsters or a lot of new entrepreneurs are hesitant because they're like, where's the money going to come from? If you have the idea, the money will come. I think that's one of the things that, for sure, I would love to put that message out there. And third of all, if you're looking to grow in the GCC or Asia, please get in touch with me.
If you have a good idea, the money will come. And do get in touch with Sima Ved. So those are the 2 final messages to end this with. Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you
was such
so
a
much,
pleasure.
Vikram.